So today's episode, I'm trying to remember what actually prompted me to do the Instagram post that has prompted me to do this podcast episode. And I think it may have been a talk that I was asked to do. And there was something within that just made me think about how this was an important topic. And just as I'm beginning, I'm just letting you know that my dog, Max, has just woken up. So if you hear any weird noises, it's not me. I just like to say that at the beginning whenever he is in the room with me. So if you are watching this on YouTube, you may be able to see his tail wagging. But anyway, I'll try not to get distracted by him. So when I started my private practice 8 years ago, when I started my business, I had a Facebook page. And I'm pretty sure that was it. That was all I had to promote my practice and advertise. And for some reason, it was okay at the time. Like I've maintained a successful practice ever since. Don't quite know how, with the fact that I didn't know anything about marketing and I wasn't sharing that Facebook page anywhere, basically. I had no Instagram, didn't know what a reel was, hadn't heard of carousels other than the fairground ride. I didn't, as I say, I didn't share my Facebook page, and I certainly wasn't like opening myself up. I mean, it's quite telling that I would describe it as that back then, but I wasn't opening myself up to social media. And I told myself at that time that I was being professional, that I was being boundaried, that I was being careful and ethical. And those thoughts came up whenever I did, on the very rare occasion, think about sharing my page in a local Facebook group. You know, this narrative of I shouldn't push my business on people. I don't want to come across as pushy or salesy. I don't want therapists to have a bad name. I don't want me to have a bad name. I don't want people to slate me, all sorts of things, that I needed to maintain this professional integrity at all times. At any point I did share anything that I'd created to my Facebook page, I definitely would not have dreamt or thought of including anything remotely personal about me within that, because I was being professional. That's what I told myself. And over time, I started to realise that those thoughts weren't really about professionalism. They were about protection. And not protection from breaching any boundaries, but protection from being seen, from being judged, from being misunderstood or talked about or laughed at, for being criticised. Even as a therapist with over 25 years of studying psychology, I didn't recognise that at first. And that is because, and the reason I'm sharing this is so you can look out for it, it's because avoidance masquerades as something else. It often sounds reasonable to us. We unintentionally, unconsciously make it sound reasonable. We don't see it for what it is. We see it as protecting our privacy. We have these thoughts of, I'm just being ethical, or I'm not ready yet, I can't make a mistake, I need to make sure I'm ready, otherwise I'll lose credibility. There's always something else maybe to be doing. And this isn't about shaming ourselves for valuing our ethics or setting boundaries around stuff. And that's the point. You can be boundaried, you can be private. And professionalism absolutely matters. Of course it does. We need to be professional and intentional. But sometimes it's just worth gently checking in and asking yourself, is this thought that I'm noticing about having to be a certain way and present myself as professional at all times, maybe, is that truly about me and what matters to me in terms of showing my professionalism? Is that thought rooted, like really rooted in my values? Or is it rooted in fear? Because what we might actually be protecting ourselves is from discomfort and rejection and the vulnerability of being truly seen. It's often a form response in disguise, especially for therapists and women in business, because we've been conditioned and trained to be neutral in a way, like to not show too much of ourselves, to achieve but not shout about our achievements, to be appropriate, whoever decides what bloody appropriate is, to not be seen as showing off, to conduct ourselves in a way that society tells us we should. We are trained and told and conditioned to not do anything that feels too much, to not be too visible. And then suddenly got our business and we're told, market yourself, you've got to be seen, you've got to be visible to get business and for it to be a success. And it's this conflict and it feels like a threat to what we know to feel like our identity, or it feels like a threat to our safety. So that inner voice saying, be professional. It might not be about ethics at all. It might be a sign that you've got a protector part there, trying to keep you small, safe, and out of the firing line, out of any potential threat or risk. And if you do start to notice that in yourself and recognize that you can relate to that, remember that's not you doing anything wrong. That's not you broken or being behind or not being good enough at marketing or good enough at being visible. It's that you and your nervous system doesn't feel safe enough yet. I should emphasize yet. It's that you are human and your nervous system is doing what it knows best. It's protecting you. So I just wanted to do this so that for over the next week, maybe you could practice looking out for avoidance and how it might be masquerading as being productive, maybe in other areas, instead of something that would make you be fully seen or visible. And look out for thoughts around that, like the meaning you're attaching to that, the reasoning you're telling yourself of, I'm just being professional, or I'm not going to show anything personal about myself because I've got ethics and I'm boundaried. And notice it with curiosity, not criticism, and just ask yourself, what is underneath that? Is it professionalism, or could it be fear of being judged, of being misunderstood? Could there be a part of you trying to keep you safe, not just appropriate and professional? And maybe just when you do notice it, see if you can take a little step towards visibility anyway. So it might mean just sharing a line of something personal to you or your story, or letting your face be seen instead of maybe a product you sell, or even showing up on stories because you know that it'll go after 24 hours. It might feel more manageable. Or putting your name to a post that feels a little closer to the real you, or liking someone who has an opinion you value or you feel strongly about. And not to do it for validation or for likes or approval, but as practice of being seen and still being safe, so that your nervous system can start weakening the potential negative association it has with being seen and start to form a new association where it starts to learn that actually maybe the reality of where you are now in life, maybe it is now time that things feel and are actually safe enough now for you to be seen. Because professionalism is important, but it doesn't mean that you have to be invisible. And boundaries are important, but being boundaries doesn't mean that you stay hidden. So if this is landing for you and maybe you're starting to realize that visibility feels harder for reasons that go deeper than social media strategy or knowing enough about marketing, maybe there's something to this where there's other stuff holding you back. Then I have a free resource on my website, the Video Visibility Toolkit. That is to help you go from cringe to confidence showing up on video. Now that might feel like too much of a step for you. So if it does, just come and follow me on Instagram if you don't already, Charlotte_Bailey_therapies. I'm going to be posting more content around visibility and the psychological stuff that's really holding us back when it comes to that. I will also be doing a talk at an amazing retreat that's taking place on the 7th of October in the UK at Carden Park in Cheshire. And the details of that are on my Instagram as well. And my talk is literally about helping you identify what's really holding you back when it comes to visibility, reconnecting with your why for what you do, and helping you discover what you do need and what you can start doing to start moving forward with visibility that feels like you. So this isn't about starting to overshare and show yourself all the time, show every part of you. This is about visibility with intention and with boundaries, and not using the story of it not being professional to stop you from making an absolute success of your business and from sharing your message that matters so much to you. So the more you can notice, allow yourself to notice and acknowledge things that are holding you back in some way, the more clarity you can get if you allow yourself to maybe dig a little deeper and see what is really underneath the thoughts that we might tell ourselves. I hope that's been helpful. I feel like I've been a bit repetitive there. I'm noticing my own narratives now coming through, but I feel like I might have been a bit repetitive there. But hopefully that has just emphasised the point that I was making. And I would love it if you could share with me on Instagram or on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, what you notice about maybe certain areas that you are holding back on, or if it's prompted you to sort of see stuff differently. Send me a voice note and let me know. I love a voice note. And I will be doing more content on visibility. I'll be doing more episodes around the stuff that holds us back in business and work and careers, because I know that there's so many women, like from the work I do, from the people I know, from who I connect with, I know there's so many women who struggle with identifying initially what they really want to do in life, in work, I should say, or in business, and struggling to really put that into action and go for it and feel okay and safe enough to go for it for themselves and for what matters to them. So until next time, I'll see you soon and take care.